companies like Nvidia, Coreweave, and other important players had an amazing week. Now, unfortunately, after hours, we did see some news on Friday that kind of created some form of negative sentiments towards stocks. At the end of this episode, I'm going to take a closer look at kind of those US credit ratings that changed and how it impacts my overall investment thesis. Too long, don't watch. I think as a long term investor, this is not something I have anything to worry about. But throughout this episode, I also want to take a closer look at a lot of AI stuff that is happening right now and things that Nvidia, CoreWeave, and Google stock investors should know. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so the first thing we're going to see is just the overall stock price actions that we've had in the past 5 days. We can see Nvidia sitting at $135. Unfortunately, after hours, the stock is down about 2.4%. I'll talk about that in the end of this episode, but overall, a great week. Now, if you have been following this channel, CoreWeave has been one of my favorite stocks recently, and this stock continues to dominate. Now, let me just say this. I do believe that when a stock has gone up dramatically in such a short time, the stock, for example, in the past 5 days is up roughly 50%. There's nothing wrong with taking some wins and kind of using those wins for some other positions. And that's how I'm feeling about CoreWeave, right? I'm not going to completely exit out of my positions, but it's not going to be unheard of for me in the upcoming days to maybe close down a bit of my position, right? I'm still planning on holding a nice amount of CoreWeave, but the stock for me has more than doubled, literally more than 100% gain. I was able to, close to it actually. My overall cost basis was $40.40. So I won't mind taking a few out, even if it drops after hours like we're seeing right now. So just sharing my overall thoughts on what I'm thinking about CoreWeave, especially when a stock has run up that much in such a short time. I don't mind taking some of my market because it literally became almost a 10 percentage position in just a few days. So for me, bringing it back down maybe to like 5, maybe 6, 7% of my overall portfolio, taking some gains and using it for somewhere else, maybe to just build up cash. So just wanted to share on CoreWeave because I know there are some people that kind of have been following me with my CoreWeave thoughts. Nothing bearish at the moment, right? I'm still planning on holding a decent position on this stock, but it's just made so much money for me in such a short term. So just wanted to share my overall thoughts. Again, I don't give stock market advice. I just want to be a little bit transparent what I'm doing with some of my portfolio positions. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be discussing with CoreWeave. Obviously, the stock is going to continue to be volatile. I think in the future, I'm going to get a buying opportunity. It might not be next week or the week after that, but I do believe we could see some buying opportunities again in the future. And if not, I don't mind doing a little bit more dollar cost averaging if I want to increase my position. Again, not selling everything, not selling, still going to be a healthy position of my overall portfolio, but it has ballooned dramatically in just a few days. So time for me to cut back a little bit. Now, one that I'm pretty excited about is Alphabet. This is ticker Google. Obviously, we all know it. I hate the Alphabet name, but Google right now, I mean, it has had great buying opportunities, right? This stock sitting in the low 150s, I find it pretty impressive. It's one of my favorite Mag 7s in forms of strong valuation and growth opportunities, in my opinion. And it's one that I talk about too much to even give me the opportunity to buy the stock. But Alphabet, we see a lot of things coming in. There was a pretty cool podcast that was also just hit. But some things, if you are a Google Alphabet investor, May 20th to May 21st is their Google I/O, which is kind of like their Google Nvidia GTC. A lot of great information is going to be coming out of this event for kind of what they're doing with the cloud market, with the Android market, with the AI market. So the main keynote is on May 20th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that should be the most watch, or if not, make sure to stay tuned to this channel as we are going to be kind of covering videos if there's anything revolutionary, especially for the AI market. But that's going to be the interesting one. There are a lot of other events, and feel free to go kind of like io.google to see the other things. The only other ones that maybe I might be excited about is on May 20th. They're also going to have kind of a discussion on the frontiers of AI, kind of explain what's new in Google Cloud. Two markets that I'm very excited not just for Google stock, but just for the overall market in general as a big Nvidia investor, and obviously investors like Coreweave and other big players in the cloud service provider market, that these two, in my opinion, are ones that if I have time, I definitely would want to listen to. This is more about learning, right? So you might not see anything that's moving the stock market at the day. Maybe the Google keynote can do that. I'm not going to promise anything, but if they announce something revolutionary there, it could definitely be seen as a nice positive bullish sentiment for the stock. Now these other two, the ones that the Google what's new in Google Cloud and frontiers of AI, it's more of understanding the long-term thesis about the AI market and the cloud market, and I do believe you can find some gems in there. Outside of that, and actually before we go any further, if you want to support the channel, first thing you can do is hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 75,000 by the end of the year. We're at 65. This is going to be the best place you're going to find any semiconductor news. Also, if you want to learn more about some interesting stocks, make sure to check out fool.com/Jose. If you want to check out my exclusive partnership for stock data, check out finchat.io/Jose for 15% off. And finally, what the chip happened for almost daily semiconductor news. Now, kind of jumping back here into Google. Google actually had a recent podcast, or Sundar, the CEO of Alphabet, had an all-in interview. And I do believe this is a great interview if you want to learn more in depth of what's going on with Google. A lot of interesting key points, nothing completely revolutionary. And let me just pull up my notes here. This is what I have for this kind of events of kind of the things that really grabbed my attention during this interview. First, the AR glasses. It does seem like Sundar was really excited that there is at least some great potential in AR glasses being kind of the next form of computation. So that was pretty cool to see. Obviously, we know Meta Platforms is doing that really well. Then he kind of talks a little bit how NVIDIA is used dramatically in their AI infrastructure. They talk about their TPUs. Again, nothing crazy. AI search, Google's still going to dominate. They don't believe that AI search, because they're so strong in the AI market, that is something that they should worry about. Now, in the Chinese market, this is one when we were talking about the AI space. They actually mentioned that China is a lot closer in forms of competitive pressure than maybe some might thought. China was always thought as a competition, but maybe they a little bit underestimated how close it was. But luckily, the United States, Sundar mentioned, is focused with a lot of strong CEOs, from Elon, from Microsoft CEO, from Mark Zuckerberg, from Sam Altman, and obviously from Sundar here at Google. So there's a lot of advantage, and he does believe that there's going to be some crazy technology about AI. And I think that was another great point here, that he talks that the founders of Google are still very involved with the company right now, especially because they do believe that the AI market is creating a massive opportunity in the way technology is being used. So it does kind of show this bullish sentiment, continues to show this bullish sentiment of the AI space. It's not just one player talking about it, it's the whole world. And the final thing that I kind of got pretty interested, this was one of the ones that I really got somewhat discussions on, or where my mind started thinking a little bit more, was the power constraint. So Sundar does mention that one of the biggest weakness for the AI market right now, especially for the United States, is power constraints. There is a limited of not just electricians, but obviously the amount of power capacity that can be run here. And that's something that's eventually going to create a massive bottleneck. So it has to be worked in the research and development of how to go through that. So this is it's obviously scary to hear that, but at the same time, it's also bullish, because when you need to innovate, understanding your problem makes innovation a lot easier, right? So when NVIDIA is designing a chip, they have to make sure it's power efficient. It's going to work with the constraints that they're working with. So it kind of showcases that if you want to lead in the AI chip market, you have to understand where the constraints are, so you can also kind of create your solutions around that. But again, if you want to learn more about Google, definitely check out this All In podcast. It was about a 1 hour video long. I watched it all, maybe at 1.5x speed. Certain portions I kind of just listened through. But overall, pretty excited about the AI market. He also talks about the quantum space, so make sure to check that out. Now, what I'm really excited about is in less than 5 hours, depending on when you're watching this episode, NVIDIA CEO is going to be doing the keynote at Computex. There is a lot of excitement there. I'm going to share in a bit what are some of the great things that maybe we want to consider. But make sure to check that out. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do a live stream on that. It's going to be here on May 18th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to check that out and let me know in the comments below if I should do a live stream on that in the next few hours. Now, there are going to be some other keynotes happening in this Computex event, and this is a major tech event happening in Taiwan. So, like I mentioned, NVIDIA is going to be the first one. The second one is going to be Qualcomm CEO talking about the AI market. That one's going to be interesting, but I don't own Qualcomm, so I'm not too excited. I might just watch it. It's going to be like at 3 a.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a few hours after Nvidia's. I'm most likely going to watch the recap or the whole video in the morning, and I might provide some insight if investors who want to know more about Qualcomm. One that I am actually pretty excited about is, again, we're going to have Foxconn do a keynote, and Foxconn is a huge player in the AI server space. Now, I don't know if this one's going to be, I don't know, again, different part of the regions, different CEOs. Foxconn is Asian-based company, so I don't know in what language they do kind of some of these keynotes. Obviously, I know Jensen and Qualcomm, because they are US-based companies, I think it's rightfully so to expect them to do it in English. I don't know how Foxconn, if it is in English, I will kind of pay attention to it. MediaTek is another one. One that's pretty interesting about MediaTek is there are rumors that Nvidia and MediaTek are going to be producing some form of CPU for the consumer market. If we do hear about it, it's either going to be on the MediaTek keynotes or on the Nvidia keynotes. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the expectations the market is seeing. NXP, kind of a automotive company. I'm not too excited about this one. It's not a popular company, but if there is some demand for it, let me know, and I will kind of do more of a average, kind of a quick take on what happened there. Let me know on the comments below. ARM is also having an event as well. I think the ARM one is going to be closer. They're going to talk about cloud to edge, advancing AI on ARM. This one's going to be crucial as well. While I don't own ARM, I do believe there is a lot and a lot of knowledge to come out from this Computex event. Some other companies that didn't show on their main website, but we do know that AMD's Senior Vice President of Computing and Graphics, so it most likely going to be some form of consumer graphics solution, is going to be announcing something on May 21st, May 20th at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Supermicro is also expected to announce or have a keynote, and there are reports that maybe he has a special guest. Maybe that special guest, again, is Jensen. He was his special guest last year. A lot of iffy stuff happening with Supermicro in the past year or so. So it is going to be interesting to see how that evolves. Now, a lot of other companies are going to be there, but again, NVIDIA is going to be the most crucial. All right, so here are some updates of what we're expecting from NVIDIA. ChatGPT gave me some of the thoughts that the market and the web is expecting. First, Blackwell shipment updates and any alliances or partnerships with Taiwan server players. Then it's kind of like that ARM-based PC CPU that is project to be working with MediaTek. Maybe some more updates on some of their not weaker down progress, but some of their consumer 50,000 GPU lineup for the laptop and the desktop. Learning more about Jetson Thor and physical AI, which is the robotics market. Some of the things that we only saw very small during GTC. I think they could kind of expand a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more breadcrumbs on the roadmap. I heard we saw a lot in GTC, but they can also expand on a lot of things that we didn't hear about. So I am very excited for this. This is just a few hours from now, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, the final thing I want to talk about with NVIDIA is there are reports that NVIDIA's H20 follow-up in China won't be based on the Hopper platform, says Jensen. The main reason is obviously Hopper is old news, right? So this does make sense. If there is an allowance of NVIDIA entering the Chinese market, it's most likely going to be with the Blackwell platform. platform. But some things that are reported here is one of the issues with regulations is using HBM or high bandwidth memory. There are reports, I don't know how true this is, but just interesting to see the reports that it is switching from HBM to GDDR7 instead. I wonder what that might do with companies like Micron and kind of the other SK Hynix that deal with the HBM market. So things to consider. But kind of hearing up that Jensen and his team are working on the Blackwell for China. I think it's a great indication that this market might be opening up to Nvidia in the future, and that could actually be seen as a bullish take. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is this Moody's rating cut that the United States has been reduced one notch. The highest possible was AA1, AAA. Triple A's. Now it has been dropped down to AA1, and the main reason is they mentioned kind of like the margins and the high interest rates and a lot of other things. Now, as a long-term investor, this is something that's going to impact globally. What's really happening right now with this is it's pretty much saying that the U.S. money is a little bit less safe than previously thought. Nothing too crazy, as there is like a lot of ratings, so they're only one off from the top, but the market is reacting. We did see a bit in the kind of few days that the kind of treasury, 10-year treasury, did jump after this event. We can see that jump there, and in theory it's like, hey, we want more for safe money, and in theory it's also going to mean that it's going to take the market a lot more for us to buy stocks because it's a little bit more risky. So you did see kind of stocks drop about 1% after hours. Now, as a long-term investor, I don't think this is anything I have to worry about. There are other macroeconomics and microeconomic events that is something as a semiconductor investor that I worry about. Things like tariffs, things like regulations, things like export restrictions. This is something I could care less about, but I just wanted to bring up just in case anybody was curious of my thoughts. But this is not going to make or break anything in my overall thesis. At the moment, the market, especially in the AI space, has been pretty excited. So it's not like I believe it's creating a massive buying opportunity. Like I see Coreweave is from $80 down to 77. I think 77 is still pretty expensive. So it's not like it's creating a massive buying opportunity. These are not the opportunities I'm looking for. But if it does create a massive sell-off in the future, that's something that I'm willing to kind of take some money and build up positions in certain stocks. So right now it's not a nothing burger. It hasn't really created much attention for me buying stocks. I mean, Nvidia, we can see ended at 135, 132. It's not a big change for me and my overall portfolio. Now, yeah, like I mentioned, Google might be the only one. I think Google, regardless of this, in the anything below the in the 150s, I think is amazing, right? I do think this is a stock that one of my favorite Max 7s at the moment. I just wish I can stop talking about it, but I always get questions about it. This is one I don't mind adding on to in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.